Hello, my name is John Hancock. I am a very wealthy Boston merchant who used his wealth to influence in a fight for independence. Considering to come out one of the most dangerous revolutionaries by the British he was nearly arrested by them, but Paul Revere, during the midnight ride, was able to warn him and send down the danger they He was the president of the first Second Continental Congress. He was the first to sign the Declaration of Independence. A large reward was offered by British for capture upon seeing famous document that said the British Missouri can read that without special aids, then let them double their reward. This blood signature has led to popular phrases today, and singing their names is almost they are said to have written their John Hancock. The President of the Combination adopted the Massachusetts Constitution in 1780 because of the first governor of Massachusetts serving 9 terms.
Hello, my name is Thomas Jefferson. I was born April 13, 1743 in Chadwell, Virginia. My parents' names are Peter and Jane Jefferson. I enjoyed playing outside, reading, and playing my violin. When my father died, I was the third of 10 children. Being the eldest son, 11 years old, I inherited 5,000 acres and 150 slaves on a farm in Virginia, and some of the main crops are tobacco, wheat, and other grains. At age 16, I entered the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. I studied math, metaphysics, and philosophy. As a farmer, lawyer, writer, philosopher, scientist, architect, and educator outside of school, I married Martha Wells Skelton, and we had 5 children: Martha, Lucy, Mary, Peter, and Jane. I was later elected to the House of Burgesses. During the Second Continental Congress, I was asked to write the Declaration of Independence. I did this task along with John Adams and Ben Franklin. This declaration stated that America felt independent from England and was willing to fight for their freedom. During the Revolutionary War, I was the U.S. Minister of France, Governor of Virginia, the first Secretary of State under George Washington, and Vice President under John Adams. Then, after the war, I was elected the second Vice President. Then, March 4th, 1801, I was elected the third President of the United States, serving 2 terms. I died July 4th, 1826 in Monticello, Virginia. I was later added to the Mount Rushmore Monument in South Dakota. Also, there is a Thomas Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C. dedicated in my name. You can still visit my house that I designed and built in Charlottesville, Virginia today. Or maybe you have seen my picture on the $2 bill.
Hello, I'm Nancy Hart. I was born in Orange County, North Carolina. Before the war, I married Benjamin Hart. After we married, we moved to South Carolina, then back to the country. I had at least 8 kids. The Revolutionary War started in 1735. My husband was in it, and I stayed with him. One day, my husband was working in a field a while away. Then all of a sudden, 6 British men came in my cabin and demanded a meal. While I was cooking, I tricked them and took their guns. I killed one and wounded another. Then a child went and got my husband and some neighbors. They told me to stop and take the others as captives or prisoners. Later on, the prisoners got hanged and I sang Yankee Doodle while they died. I was proud. After the war, I became a spy for the local militia. I was on a mission to get lots of information for the British for General Elijah Clark, and I did. After that, one day I was cooking soap and I saw a Tory looking into my cabin, and I threw the soap at him and blinded the Tory. After that, my family and I moved to Brunswick, and where my husband Benjamin died in 1802. After that, I moved to Kentucky and settled in Kentucky. I died in Kentucky in 1830.
Hi, I'm Patrick Henry, and I was born in Sedley, Virginia in 1736. I was the second oldest out of 9 children, and I received much schooling from my father, who went to a university in Scotland. At age 15, I ran a store for my father. The store was a failure. A few years later, I married Sarah Shelton. In 1765, I became a member of the House of Burgesses. I was also elected to the Continental Congress 9 years later, where I gave my famous "Give me liberty or give me death" speech. I also served as a colonel in the 1st Virginia Regiment, where I led militia to fight the Royal Governor of Virginia, Lord Dunmore. I then served as Governor of Virginia and on the Virginia State Legislature. After the war, I served as Governor of Virginia again. After my wife died, I married Martha Washington's cousin, Dethoria Dandridge. I did not want to pass the U.S. Constitution without the Bill of Rights. I was against the Constitution because I was concerned that the office of the president would become a monarchy. I was elected governor a 3rd time in 1796, but I declined. I gave many quotes to inspire colonists to become patriots. Some quotes were, "I know no way of judging the future, but by the past." I also said, "If this is treason, make the most of it." I soon retired on my plantation at Red Hill. In 1799, I died of stomach cancer at Red Hill.
Hi, my name is Molly Pitcher. I was born on October 13, 1754, near Trenton, New Jersey. When I was 14, I moved to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. When I was in Pennsylvania, I met William Hayes. We were married on July 24, 1769. In 1775, the Revolutionary War broke out. I followed my husband William into the Battle of Monmouth in 1778. When I was taking water to the soldiers one day, I witnessed my husband William collapse from heat stroke. I then took over his place at the cannon. I then just kept firing at the British. We ended up winning the battle. Next, I took William home to take care of him. He ended up surviving the battle. In 1780, I had a son named John. 9 years later, my husband William died. The same year, I remarried to George Macaulay. George was one of my first husband's friends. I died on January 22, 1832, in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I was 78 years old when I died.
Hello, my name is Nathan Hale. I was born on June 6, 1755 in Coventry, Connecticut. I was the 6th of 12 children in my family. I did not get married, but when I graduated, I became a teacher. Women were not allowed to have an education, so I started a class of 20 women in this class. I joined the Continental Army, also known as the American Army, by volunteering to be a spy. I took orders from General George Washington, who happened to be the first U.S. president. I was an important soldier in 3 major battles. Battles are Lexington and Concord, Bunker Hill, and the Battle of Hubbard Hill, which unfortunately I was captured. General William Howe sentenced me to death for treason and because I was a spy. I didn't go to trial to explain myself, so I was hung in New York. My final words were, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." I died in New York, September 22nd, 1776, at the age of 21. I became a Revolutionary War hero. There are many statues of me around the United States of America. There is one in Connecticut at Yale College and in Washington, D.C. at the Department of Justice. I was also put on a half-cent stamp for attention so people would notice me as a Revolutionary War hero.
Revere, and I was born on December 21st, 1734 in Boston, Massachusetts. I was the second oldest child out of 11 siblings. I went to school for 7 years at North Riding School. My parents' names are Apollos and Deborah. After graduating, I went and worked in my dad's silversmith shop. I married Sarah Orrin and had 11 kids: Joseph, Sarah, John, Deborah, Paul Jr., Joshua, Maria, Francis, Mary, Lucy, Elizabeth, Harriet, and Isna. After Sarah died, I married Rachel Walker. I joined the Sons of Liberty and became a spy and messenger for them. I was involved with the Boston Tea Party. I gathered information about the British before the war. Then one night I was ordered to do a midnight ride. My orders were to go warn John Hancock and Samuel Adams that the British was coming to capture them. The route I was taking was to Lexington, Massachusetts. First, I had to cross the Charles River. After I crossed the river, I borrowed a horse from Deacon Larkin. I was captured along the way, but I escaped and was still able to warn Hancock and Adams and the countryside. I rode and shouted my famous quote, "The British are coming." This was the start of the Revolutionary War. After the war, I went back to my silversmith business. I started experimenting with different metals. Then I opened a copper sheeting mill. I died on May 10, 1818 in Boston, Massachusetts at age 83. You can read the poem that made me famous by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It is called Paul Revere's Ride.
Hi, I'm Samuel Adams. I was born on September 27, 1722 in Boston, Massachusetts. I was a graduate from Harvard College and an unsuccessful businessman and tax collector before concentrating on politics. During the Revolutionary War, me and my colleagues devised a committee of correspondence system which linked like-minded patriots throughout the 13 colonies. I also helped organize the Boston Tea Party to fight against British taxes. Also during the Revolutionary War, I helped lead the Continental Congress toward issuing the Declaration of Independence and helped draft the Articles of Confederation and Massachusetts Constitution. On October 2nd, 1803, I died in my hometown of Boston, Massachusetts.